Ladies, today we are going to talk about being highly sensitive. We had a great request for today's Lunch and Learn Live from our community. And one of our members wrote in and said, "Hi, Joe. One of the things I'd like to have a strategy for, if it's worth a discussion, and I believe it is how to cope with being a highly sensitive person, especially in the workplace. I've recently read a book on this, but still been subjected to bullying in the workplace over the last 3 months, whilst dealing with cancer and chemo, as well as very bad menopausal symptoms. I think I'm just an easy target. I don't know if others experience this, but it is soul destroying sometimes." Oh, my darling, I feel your pain and I feel how hard that must be. You're going through so much. So the first thing I want to say to you is to send out a big cuddle, and I wish I could just hold you and tell you it's going to be all right, because it's a difficult situation. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about highly sensitive. What does that mean? Our member here has actually read a book about it, and I'll talk to you about a great book about that. So we're going to have a chat about that, how to determine whether you are highly sensitive, and what strategies we need to employ to be able to not be taken for granted and not be bullied, and to be able to protect our boundaries. So really, really important topic for today. How many of you are here with me? By a little thumbs up or a little me in the comment section. Know or suspect that you might be a highly sensitive person, first of all. Do any of you recognize that? Or have you felt like an easy target? Have you ever experienced bullying or criticism at work? Have you felt like you're too sensitive or an easy target? Let me know if any of that sounds resonant to you, and we'll see where we're at. So let's jump in here. Sarah Kate is in Oxfordshire. Just going to turn the heating on for a bit. I know, right? Sunny and warm in Edinburgh, says Iona. Oh, Beck's in bed with her heated blanket in Milton Keynes, burnt out and taking a rest. Good job, Beck. I like that. Well done. Oh, Katie says, "I did really well with my boundaries this week. I'm going away for the weekend of Be Vital all by myself, so I cannot be interrupted or used for childcare, even though I'm busy. I even booked a more expensive room with a separate seating area to treat myself right." Well done, Katie. I love that. Lots of you are saying I might be highly sensitive. Me definitely, says Tracy. Rebecca, I am. Erica says depends on my hormones. Patricia, not a highly sensitive person. Katie says I can be. My daughter definitely is. My family feel like easy targets. That's interesting. Your family feel like easy targets. Yeah, good. Well, listen, wherever you are in the world, let's talk about this stuff. So as I look at this request here from our members, there's two independent things here. One is being a highly sensitive person, and one is being an easy target. And the two are completely independent of each other. So, my darling, that's the first piece of feedback I'm going to give you here. She said, "How do I cope with being a highly sensitive person, especially in the workplace?" She says, "I've recently read a book, but I've been subjected to bullying. I think I'm just an easy target." Now, here's the thing. Being highly sensitive and being an easy target subject to bullying are completely independent of each other, right? Completely independent. And I want you to distinguish those in your mind, because once you understand that being highly sensitive is actually one of your greatest gifts and you know how to manage it properly, then you will see that you'll see its strengths. But then the being an easy target speaks to me of archetypes that you're in, perhaps, that are not serving you. So let's pull these two pieces apart. Let's start first of all with the highly sensitive person piece. So Aisha says, "My daughter's highly sensitive." Christine says, "I'm definitely a highly sensitive person." Yeah, I certainly am. So this is a term that was coined by, I think it was coined by her. Elaine Aron is the name of the woman, and she wrote a book called The Highly Sensitive Person. She's also written The Highly Sensitive Child, and probably highly sensitive, lots of other things. Now, what does it mean? It doesn't necessarily, being highly sensitive doesn't mean that you're very emotional. It doesn't mean that you can't take criticism. It doesn't mean those things that we say, "Oh, she's too sensitive, he's too sensitive." When I read it, what landed with me most powerfully is that our neurology, our nervous systems are more finely tuned, if you like, or more sensitive than a less sensitive person. And by the way, 50% of the population are on the more sensitive side of the spectrum. So this is not an uncommon thing. And certainly in the realm of personal development, we tend to attract high levels of highly sensitive people. So it's a little bit like, I've got my sound desk just here and there's the gain on my microphone, right? If I turn the gain up, it makes the microphone more sensitive. It means it will pick up more, right? If I turn the gain down low, it will pick up less. So the highly sensitive person isn't more emotional or weird or strange or different. The highly sensitive person is just someone whose neurological sensitivity, their gain is turned up high. It's a spectrum, right? You might be up super high, you might be somewhere in the middle, or you might be low, not sensitive at all. So it's a really interesting topic. And in her book, she has a quiz. And in fact, you could just Google the quiz after this and do the quiz to see if you're a highly sensitive person. You'll find it online. And it's things like, if you notice loud noises, if loud noises I notice this with Rosie. She gets really scared of loud noises. She's a very highly sensitive person. She can smell smells long before anyone else can smell them. Highly sensitive people tend to pick up on other people's energies a lot more, carry around other people's energies, are often, although not exclusively, introverted, need to be able to, pull away from things to kind of disconnect regularly, to be able to just kind of regulate their nervous systems a lot more. So it's much more about our nervous system than it is about our emotions, although we do therefore tend to have higher, peaks and troughs of emotions is very, very common as well. So being highly sensitive also, and you might notice this about your children, I know both of my kids are highly sensitive. James, I noticed it very early on. In order for him to go to sleep at night, he needs blackout blinds, not being able to see your hand in front of your face. He's better now that he's 8, but as a baby, he needed it to be totally black. He needed white noise to cut out any other noise, and he needed to have a human body with him, right, to help him calm his nervous system down. So, you might notice these sorts of characteristics. Now, as we grow up, as little children, a highly sensitive little child growing up, society tells us that's not okay. You should just toughen up. You've got to be able to handle late nights and, hanging out with lots of people, going to school, being in busy environments, shopping centers. All of these sorts of things are just an affront to the highly sensitive person's nervous system. But we're just told, oh, don't be so sensitive, right? And so we quash it down and we end up splitting from our true selves. We end up getting further and further from our true selves, right? And that's the problem with this. Now, the sensitivity itself is not a problem. It's not being able to regulate your sensitivity that is the problem, right? So if you're able to regulate your sensitivity and to be able to protect your sensitivity, it can be a real gift, as I said. One of the things that makes me an amazing coach is my ability to be able, with all of my senses, my sensitivity, to be able to feel, see, hear, and get and intuit where somebody is just from like a little flicker of the eyes, just from a tiny little shift in color, color in their skin. Like all of my heightened senses that if I go to a busy airport kind of blow me up and I need to recuperate, those senses as a coach make me brilliant, make me stellar at what I do. Yeah. And when it comes to leading, an audience with lots and lots of people there, I can feel that audience energetically with all of this amazing sensitivity. My sorceress leadership, right? My ability to lead from my sorceress energy. And if you're new to our community, we have these 5 women's power types. These are our 5 women's power types cards. We talk a lot about our power types here at One of Many. Lover, warrioress. I'm just talking about the sorceress right now. So my ability to lead from sorceress, to connect to the divine, to be able to intuit things, to be able to read situations is great. And I put it down to my sensitivity. It also means that I can't eat a lot of foods. It also means that I have a very sensitive system all the way through. It's a pain in the ass, but it's also the engine, if you like, inside what I think is of as my greatness, right? What I'm really great at. So for our member who's saying, first of all, about I'm highly sensitive, The first thing I think it really helps to do is recognize that it is also at the root of a lot of what makes you great. Your ability to feel other people's emotions, to be able to tune into things more is great. Own it and start to get really used to it. If it is something that's interesting to you, this is actually a topic that we cover off in our Lead the Change Mastery program. For those of you who are Lead the Change graduates and you haven't yet done Mastery, we dive in here. We dive into how to become even more sensitive and how to protect our sensitivity even more. Specifically, this topic. But without going more into the sensitivity piece, that's the first thing you want to be aware of, our member. You want to be, and I'm not going to use your name because I'm not sure whether this was posted in the closed group or an open group. So I think this is a really important piece, right? This you've got to appreciate that is a gift. But you need to be able to regulate your nervous system well to be able to handle your sensitivity. So the flip side of this is being able to recognize what you need. So before we even dive into the workplace and the bullying and all of this kind of stuff, you need to be able to regulate what it is that you need, for what your nervous system needs. So first of all, even just going to work with other people can be a drain on a highly sensitive person's nervous system. Do you know the difference between when I'm working here by myself versus even when my assistant Vix is here, which has lots of great benefits when she's here, right, to be able to chat and get things done quickly, etc. But the sensitivity piece around it, the energetics of it, especially if I'm tired, it can be energetically draining, and I'll need to replenish from that. So as someone who is very sensitive and an introvert, more alone time is great. So the first thing is just going to work with other people could be a drain. So how are you transitioning back home? Are you giving yourself the space to unplug? Are you looking after your needs? Highly sensitive people, well, all of us, but especially highly sensitive people, need to pay particular attention to their needs creed. If you're in Living the Change, darlings, look at the class called Understanding Needs. It's in Module 2. Dive into that. If you're in Lead the Change or Living the Change, go into your Living the Change members area and look at the Understanding Needs module and really dive in, because if you're highly sensitive, that's going to be a critical piece. By the way, ladies, if you're not in Living the Change and you're interested, right now enrollments are open. We're having a little mini enrollment period right now until tomorrow and the end of, I think, close of business tomorrow, midnight tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure. But if you're interested in getting some ongoing coaching support and digging into our tools more, especially after the One Woman Conference, if you're not plugged in deeply into the community, then do join us for Living the Change. It's our membership. It's our membership program It's our membership style coaching program. So you just stay for a month at a time. As long as you're getting value, you can get started for as little as £29 a month at our community access level. Or if you want your own one-on-one coach, it's £329 a month. So there's an amazing array. You can go check it out at oneofmany.co.uk/LVC2. Is anyone from the team there? Could you put the link in the comments for me, darling, so that the ladies can go check it out if they would like to get registered? That would be fab. So anyway, if you're in there, go check out Understanding Needs, because understanding your needs is critical for the highly sensitive person. So that is the next piece. Understand that it's great, but understand that you need to take care of your needs even more. And you might have more needs to be okay than a less sensitive person. You might actually need a lot more alone time than a less sensitive person. You might actually need, for some people, massage might just be a nice to have. For me, some form of body work is necessary for me to be able to function. If I don't get to the osteopath or a massage therapist at least once every 10 days, I don't do well, right? Because my neurology gets all full up of everybody else's stuff. I need to do one of Annie's dynamics meditation activities or one of Susie's classes at least once a month, if not twice a month, a really big, deep session with one of those ladies once or twice a month to be able to be okay. I don't always go do the class with them. Sometimes I do it my own here, but I need to do that to be okay. So be aware of that. Be aware of your needs and look after them. So there's some thoughts about being highly sensitive. And all, by the way, again, in Living the Change, Annie's dynamic meditation sessions, Susie Heath's beautiful embodiment workshops, those things are happening once a month in the Living the Change members program, and it's open until tomorrow. So do join us there. I know many of you who are commenting here, I recognize your names and are already Living the Change members. So be aware of that. Come and join us. Come and join us. So that's the piece about the highly sensitive. And then let's speak to the next piece of I've been subject to bullying. I think I'm just an easy target. So for me, this is a different piece, right? This is a different piece around it. Just because we're highly sensitive, I'm a highly sensitive person, but I have very strong access to my sorceress energy and my queen energy, right? Another one of our power types is the queen. Queen is she that is certain of her place in the world. She sees the big picture vision and she's very clear on her boundaries. So I can tell you that there's very few workplaces that I would walk into, and I'm not bigging myself up here. It's just that I've had to develop strong boundaries over the years, right? But there's very few workplaces that I would walk into where I would be a target, or where I would be, or I'd be bullied. Not even though I am highly sensitive, because if I know how to access my queen energy, comfortable of my place in the world, I can just very clearly state my boundaries and what I need without having to defend or what have you. The queen doesn't say, she's not going to show up to a conversation and say, I'm sorry, I'm a highly sensitive person, so that's not going to work for me. Can you feel the energy of that? That person is coming from a very meek and mild and possibly a place of victim. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm highly sensitive, so I can't do that. Right? We could be highly sensitive, but still be strong. So then the way that one would present that in the workplace, and by the way, you wouldn't necessarily need to say, I'm highly sensitive, because most people, when they hear the words highly sensitive, they don't understand it as neurologically sensitive. They think that just means, oh, you're wildly emotional and we're going to have to pussyfoot around you. And I can see Christine here saying, I thought it'd be helpful to tell my colleagues, but instead of being mindful of it, they cashed in on it. I can get that, Christine, right? I can absolutely get that, that might be the case, because they might hear highly sensitive person and go, oh, that means this. This means you're emotional. You've got to be gentle around you, and take the piss. Because people aren't necessarily nice, right? So we don't want to show up in a way, and we might not even want to use those words, but you need to get clear on your needs. So you want to be very, very clear on what your needs are, and that is what you need to communicate in your workplace. So if you have, if you need to take regular breaks, and in this case, for our member who wrote this in, who's also dealing with cancer and chemotherapy, one of the things that you would need to say is, I currently am dealing with cancer and I'm having chemotherapy. So on the 7 to 10 days afterwards, I'm unable to work for more than 90 minutes at a time. What do you need to give me what I need? Can you hear how, coming from queen energy, whatever the boundary is that you need to clear, whatever the boundary is that you need to state, if you state it from queen energy, it's not about that I'm highly sensitive. It's not about that I'm not coping. It's not about that things are tough. Do you know what? This is the life that I'm handling right now. Cancer, chemo, menopausal symptoms, and I happen to be highly sensitive. So that's just the melee of life. But at work, you want to show up in your queen energy and just ask for what you need, right? Just ask for what you need, or set your boundaries clearly. You might have to have some boundary setting conversation. You might have to say, in the past, I've been able to work until 6 o'clock at night, but currently, whilst I'm dealing with chemotherapy, I'm unable to do that. I'm sorry. I need to finish by 4:30 p.m. every day. What do you need to give me what I need? And hopefully your boss will be able to support you in that, right? Now, that's just a general thing around being in our queen energy and having these boundary setting conversations. One of the questions then, of course, off the back of that is going to be, if you haven't yet done your power type profile, it's a really good idea to do your power type profile. And again, if you join Living the Change this week, and you'll get a link to a power type profile. But the way to what you want to do is nourish your queen energy. Again, in Living the Change, we have loads of great enhancing exercises to help you nourish your queen. But any listening to music that has you feel expansive, I like going for walks where I can see a big view, going to stately homes around this area. Not even, sometimes I just drive through places and look at them and kind of feel that, that queenliness, like being able to survey your realm. Anything that has you feel serene, graceful, and in command, activities that are going to nourish that in you are going to nourish your queen energy. So that's what I want you to do if you are in a workplace where you're being, I think I'm just an easy target are the words that this lady has used. I think I'm just an easy target. If you're an easy target, it's because you're not showing up as queen. Queen is not an easy target, right? It just like doesn't rate as an easy target. Victim, if you're showing up in victim, oh dear, oh gosh, I can't, sorry, oh, so bad, everything's awful. That's the easy target. So what's making you the easy target, my love, and I'm just reading from the post that you put in, is less about your highly sensitivity, more about that you're showing up in an archetype which is not serving. So I'd love to get you in your queen energy, do some exercises to nurture and nourish your queen energy, and then show up to work. And then comes the bullying. Bullying is never okay. It is not okay when we're children. It is not okay when we're teenagers. And it is sure as hell not okay as an adult. Yeah? So the thing, and I'm not an expert in workplace bullying by any stretch of the imagination, and there are many, many people who can support you with that. But one of the first things that I would be doing if I were in that situation and I didn't see a way through is to get really clear on what is my position here. Reach out to an HR lawyer. Reach out to someone and talk. That doesn't mean you have to get a lawyer, right? Or talk to an HR consultant outside of your workplace. There's some great HR consultants out there. And just say, look, this is the situation at work. Is that normal or is that okay? Get some outside advice, because this is what the queen does, right? If she is not feeling like things are how they should be, she will seek counsel. If that were happening to me, I would seek counsel. Like if I was in a workplace and I'm like, geez, it seems to me like these guys are targeting me for something, but I might just be making it all up. I don't know. Maybe I'm just gone crazy. I don't know. But that doesn't seem okay with me. Something about this feels wrong. So then I'm going to seek counsel with somebody who can help, an HR consultant, someone in that area, and talk it through. Because if it is actually bullying, then a few things need to happen. Number one, you need to be in your queen and see if just by stepping into your queen and saying, do you know, in the past I might have tolerated you making fun of my inability to work long hours, but I'm no longer willing to do that. So what do you need to give me what I need? Set the boundary and set it from queen. And if that is the case, then they will probably respond. Most people, when queen shows up, respond appropriately, right? The overwhelming majority will. If then the behavior continues, then you may need to escalate it to managers and so on. So hopefully that helps you, my darlings. Hopefully that helps you. But get some support, seek counsel, and then it's about setting those boundaries. And if you can't set those boundaries yourself, get that counsel, someone to come in and advocate on your behalf, because bullying isn't okay, right? It isn't okay. So does that help, ladies? I really want to hear how that's landing for you. And obviously this is not just in the workplace. This could be in any kind of capacity, or if you're having, if your children are being bullied, you want to teach them these. It's about, finding that inner, crown princess or crown prince. Might not be the queen and the king, but finding that strong place inside themselves where they can set their boundaries and say that's not okay or walk away. And if they can't deal with it themselves, seek counsel, go to somebody who can help them, so that there's now more than one of them, right? This is a critical kind of piece, is reaching out, really reaching out. Good. For those of you who are asking about Living the Change, Joe says, I'm doing the coaching certification, cohort 6. Does it make sense to do Living the Change too? Doesn't it overlap a lot? Joe, if you're doing the coaching certification, a lot of the content that is in Be Powerful is replicated in Living the Change. Although in Living the Change, there's a lot more. The difference between what you're doing and living the change is going to be in the monthly calls where you can do dynamic meditation sessions with Annie. You can do the embodiment work with Susie, and regularly as you're doing your training. So that won't be in your coaching certification. So that stuff, the regular coaching calls. So at bronze level, you get a community-wide Q&A call, a bit like this, except for you actually get to ask your questions and talk back to the person. Or at silver level, they're small group coaching sessions, and they're private. They're not recorded. So you will meet, and there's usually somewhere between 3 and 10 other people on that group coaching session. And you can get coached on anything in particular. And those are happening about 3 a week. There's about three sessions a week happening at the silver level. Or at gold level, you meet up with your own one-on-one coach every month, twice a month, every month. So you get one-on-one deep dive coaching every month, and you only have to commit to a month at a time, right? With the gold, with all of the levels, in fact. So Joe, if you know that you might find that you've got a lot going on with your coaching certification, but you might just want the access to being coached yourself regularly by one of our coaches, or Annie and Susie's embodiment work. I know that for our coaches, doing this embodiment practice is a critical part of where a lot of our coaches get stuck when it comes to doing the intensive. So the more experience of that you have beforehand is great. So if you're in a position at least to get yourself a bronze membership, it's only £29 a month, Joe, and indeed anyone else who's watching. For £29 a month, you get access to all of those classes, you get access to some Q&A, and you get access to all of the resources in there. So it's a pretty, even just for Annie and Susie's class, you know, a lot of women just say, I would pay my £29 to be able to come to Annie and Susie's classes and do my embodiment work, which is very, very common. So yeah, it would absolutely help you there, Joe. And for those of you who are not yet plugged into something deeper in our community, this is the most affordable starting point for deepening your understanding of the tools and being able to get this out of the realm of your head and into the realm of your heart and your body, right? Queen energy lives in your body. Yeah. It's not just an intellectual understanding of, yes, I have to be my queen. I'm going to set my boundary, right? It's not that. She lives in the body. She lives in the body. And the only way you can get things living in the body is to do the embodiment work. And so much of what Living the Change is about is being able to get you access to that work without having to come to our in-person retreats, without without the high price tag too. It's incredibly affordable. So if you would like to join Living the Change, it is open until tomorrow. I think it's, Jane, is it midnight? Is it I don't know what time it is. It's either close of business or midnight tomorrow. Usually it's midnight. So get yourself sorted for that. And you can get to it at oneofmany.co.uk/LVC2. So if you go to LVC2, you'll see all of the details. It's a very comprehensive page. You can read all about the membership there. And we would love to have you as a deeper part of our community. We won't be opening the doors on this again until September. So this is your last chance to get into Living the Change before the summer, so that you can use the summer. Midnight tomorrow, says Jane. Fantastic. Yes, so you can use the summer to really strengthen your queen, strengthen your power types, get your needs sorted out, prioritize you. Let's have you put yourself first, darling. I think that's a great place to start. Excellent. Excellent. Great. All right. So fabulous. It's very good to spend some time with you, ladies. I hope you have enjoyed today's Lunch and Learn Live. If, like our friend here, you would like me to answer your question on Lunch and Learn Live, do post it in the B1 community and maybe use the hashtag Lunch and Learn Live. Say, I'd love for Joe to answer this, please. And it makes it so much more enjoyable for me when I have particular questions to answer, to be able to apply all of the amazing tools that we have here. Hope that's been helpful for you. I look forward to seeing you inside Living the Change and welcoming. I know we've welcomed dozens and dozens and dozens of new members over the last few days. Hopefully you're one of them. I look forward to getting to know you better. And for all of you who are at the One Woman Conference, thank you so much for being there a couple of weeks ago. Hope you had a good time and welcome into the community more deeply. See you soon. Bye.